Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having a good start to your Sunday. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be sharing the 3 steps that I take when it comes down to being able to identify a potential reversal before it actually happens. I'm going to talk about the 3 steps very quickly. I'm going to elaborate and give you certain examples both for day trading and swing trading and the series of different indicators that I like to focus on depending on the specific time frame. And then after that, that's really just going to be it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Hope we earn you a thumbs up, and be sure to stay tuned to the very end of the video for a little announcement. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I kind of have going on. So again, I'm using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. It's the platform that I use. It's not the one that you have to use, but it's just the one, again, that I use to day trade. I have a big focus as of right now day trading a lot of ETFs, right? So I'm going to give you certain examples where, the 3 stages that I like to focus on, or the 3 indicators or patterns I like to focus on. And I've talked about it very often, and we call it the 3 stages of a reversal. So how that normally happens, and I think it's much more clear when we, focus on larger time frames. It's much more clear to see, but I'll also give you examples on shorter time frame as the 1 day, 1 minute chart. So I'm going to go on this. This is SQQQ, right? So this is the correlating ETF, the inverse ETF for the overall NASDAQ, right? So when the market does well, SQs pulls back, right? So one of the things that you need to become familiar with are just patterns, and this is going to come to you over time, right? One of the things that I really like to focus on is like, okay, well, how did people know that SQs was going to continue to uptrend? How did people know that at this period right here that there's going to be a potential reversal where it was no longer going to push up anymore, where it pulled back, it broke below the EMA line, and then sold off? Like, how can I identify good points to sell, right? That's the whole point of being able to identify reversals, to be able to like sell for a profit and then not ride it down as it reverses, right? So what steps can you take? Well, there's specific patterns that I would like to focus on. So the 3 stages. So this one would be kind of like the opposite. So the 3 stages of a reversal for this aspect, right? So it's like selling off. When is it going to bounce, right? I think a big struggle for a lot of new traders is identifying when it's a good time to buy for a good deal, but also don't buy too early as it might continue to downtrend. So I like to focus on the 3 steps. There's the rejection, consolidation, and confirmation. So again, rejection, meaning that it's selling off, it's making lower lows, and normally it's trading below the EMA line. So, it peaked out, it became overextended, right? Look at the RSI, look at the MACD, it began to pull back. This is what I would like to call a critical point. It could either bounce off of the EMA line just like it has before, or if it doesn't bounce and then actually breaks below the EMA line, then that's not just a pullback. A pullback is when it pulls back and bounces off the EMA line and then validates that support and then continues this uptrend pattern, kind of like it did over here. But it pushes up, becomes overbought, pulls back, breaks below the EMA line. So that's a break of pattern, right? So now it's getting rejected, and now that it tries to push up, it gets normally rejected by the EMA line, which that is now the resistance, and it makes these lower lows and lower highs. Now this is what normally happens. Again, not always, but normally happens when something tries to identify a support. And this is the second step, right? So we talked about the rejection. Now it's the consolidation, meaning that it literally doesn't make higher highs, it doesn't make lower lows. It pretty much offers this little like short time period of a horizontal pattern, meaning that it kind of just consolidates, right? It is trying to validate the support, and we don't know if it's actually gonna, bounce and then make higher highs, which is usually what we would like to wait for confirmation, right? Or break below the support and actually make lower lows and then continue the sell-off. This is what I would also like to identify as another critical point. So, it pushed up, it pulled back, you wait for it to validate the support, it didn't validate it, it continues to get rejected. This is the rejection phase, right? Rejection, now it begins to consolidate. So is this a time that you want to buy? This is a question that you might want to ask yourself. I'm not here to tell you where to buy or where to sell, and this is something that's gonna come to you with experience. And the simple reminder that I would like to, give you is, if you want to grow your account, then you want to invest in patterns that are showing signs of growth, right? So as of right now, SQs, as it was consolidating here, it's not making lower lows, right? So that's fine, but it's not making higher highs. It's not really increasing in value. It's consolidating. It still can go either way. So normally, right, as if you were a complete beginner, I would say the proper step to take is wait for confirmation. Wait for it to change its overall direction. So it got rejected. So this would look like this, right? So rejected as in making lower lows and lower highs. Excuse my ugly drawing. Now it's in the consolidation phase. So now it has this horizontal support and horizontal resistance. Pretty easy to understand, right? This is the consolidation phase. Now what we want to see is for this thing to break above the EMA line, do the exact opposite of what it was doing when it was getting rejected, and now begin to make higher highs and higher lows, showing signs of an upward staircase pattern, which again is the overall confirmation. Confirmation that it's increasing in value and not decreasing, right? So rejection, consolidation, and then when we break above the EMA line and make higher highs, not just break above the EMA line for 1 minute or even just for 1 day, especially if you're looking at these larger time frames, but you want confirmation that when it pushes up and it pulls back, that it actually validates the EMA line as a support, and then that it continues with this flow, right? It becomes overbought, it pulls back, and then actually breaks below the EMA line. So that's not a pullback anymore. These were all pullbacks. Pushes up, pulls back, pushes up, pulls back. Validates and stays true to the pattern of it bouncing off of the EMA line, which is the, on TD Ameritrade, moving average exponential or exponential moving average, depending on what platform you're using. Once it becomes overbought, then guess what? This is normally, looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, you should at least become familiar when something is no longer a good deal, lock in profits. And then when it begins to pull back, this is again a critical point. Is this where it's going to bounce? It might, right? But if it breaks below the EMA line and starts to trade below it, then again, that is not a pullback. That is a break of pattern. So this pattern that we were previously seeing for about 15 days is no longer valid because now it broke it. So now it's making lower lows and lower highs. And what phase of the 3 stages is this? This is the rejection phase. So again, it corrects itself, it pulls back, it becomes oversold, and now look where it's at. Look at the RSI, look at the MACD. Does this mean? So again, now asking you guys, does this mean that it has to bounce here? So it bounced off of the SMA line before, right? So does it mean that it has to bounce here? No, this just means that this is where you simply want to watch it. Again, another critical point. So just as much as it could push up, it could go down as well. And again, ask yourself, what steps are you taking today to benefit your future as a trader? Are you going to buy right now just because you hope it bounces? Or are you going to wait for the actual pattern, for the actual charts and the actual indicators to show you confirmation of a support? And all this really looks like is, what did it do before that we would like it to do now? And that's for it to consolidate, no longer making lower lows. And then once it builds that support and we start to see actual indication of an uptrend pattern and increase in value, then it's that simple. Literally, it's, I think, the very simple things when it comes down to trading in the stock market that people tend to overcomplicate. So how does this look like? So we talked about this on larger time frames, right? So very easy or much easier to identify the low points, the high points, and usually, right, you have more time when you're looking at larger time frames because all this price action doesn't happen within a short period of time. So what is it that we can do for day trading? I have an example for you with like Tesla, right? The indicator that I personally like to use, right, when it came down to the larger time frames, I like to use the SMA line and the EMA line, right, to determine overall low points, high points, and overall reversal confirmations. I like to use the EMA line on this as well, but when it comes down to the 1 day, 1 minute chart, I find it to be much more valid to focus on the VWAP indicator. That's VWAP. It's the one that I use. It's not one that you have to use. Again, I'm just simply sharing my best practices. But when something trades in between the middle and top VWAP, I start to see signs of an uptrend pattern. And then it pulls back. The middle VWAP, when something's uptrending, is normally acting as a support, as you can see here, right? The top VWAP normally acting as a resistance, as you can see here. When it pulls back, again, this could be a potential support, but it's not a support until it confirms it. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They simply don't have to. So as it pulls back, right, we hope that it bounces here, but then guess what? It doesn't actually ever break above the EMA line, and then it continues to get rejected. So this is not a pullback anymore. This is a change of direction. And this is something very often that we see within the 1 day, 1 minute chart when it comes down to day trading this series of stocks. And then now that it gets rejected, it bounces off the bottom VWAP, it begins to try to push up, and the old support, which was the middle VWAP, now acts as a new resistance. So now the middle VWAP is a resistance, while the bottom VWAP, right, the yellow one, now tends to act as a support. And then now we continue this downward pattern. So the reason that this is so important, like why do I care to identify support and resistance? Well, again, if you're trying to buy something and then sell it for a profit, confirmation is key. And it's still the 3 stages of a reversal. You guys can see that, as something gets rejected, it then begins to consolidate and then pushes up and then becomes overextended, becomes overextended, then gets rejected, right? And then it begins to consolidate and then changes its overall direction. These 3 stages of a reversal are, again, very simple concepts that you can begin to implement in your day trading best practices and see if it actually makes sense. Ultimately, the thing that I think is the most important when it comes down to all this is, why is this so important? It's important because you want to make sure whatever it is that you are trading, you understand the direction of. So if I see that this thing is trading between the middle and top VWAP and making higher highs and higher lows, and I understand the support and resistance, great. I can get in for a good deal, and if it breaks that pattern, I can cut losses. And stuff like that, right? But when you don't know the overall kind of direction of the way something is trading, and let's say that we didn't have this VWAP indicator, right? So let's say that I go on over here, and then I go to studies, I click edit studies, and then I remove the VWAP indicator, right? Well, now it's a little bit more difficult. I mean, the SMA line does a nice job identifying that, but now it makes it a little bit more difficult for you to identify kind of like the support and the resistance, and the resistance and then the support and the overall change of direction. So I just wanted to share, first of all, the 3 concepts, as well as the series of indicators that I simply like to focus on when it comes down to having a better understanding of the direction and how to make sure that, if I want to grow my account, then I want to make sure that I invest in patterns that are showing signs of growth, right? It's that simple. So let me go ahead and add that back. Here we go. Dang it. It changed the color of my line. I'll fix that in just a little bit. But I think that, when it comes down to, this upcoming week, right, and you guys are trying to focus on a series of stocks that hopefully do well, right? It's not based off of hope. It's not based off of desire. It's based off of the patterns and what the charts are telling you, especially on the technical aspect, right? So I think by you having a better understanding of 3 stages of a reversal, with on top of that understanding how to identify direction, what is trending up, what is trending down, and how to differentiate a pullback versus an actual breakout pattern, can be something huge, because it will allow you to manage your risk a little bit more effectively. It will allow you to be a little bit more patient, to wait for confirmation, and when something is overbought, and overextended, then based off of the overall pattern and support and resistance, the RSI, the MACD, when to lock in profits, when to walk away, and then when to simply wait for confirmation for a potential re-entry, or simply step away because it's actually showing signs of a breakout pattern. Again, I think it's the very simple concept within the stock market that people overlook. That's very unfortunate, right? It's the very simple things in life that I think people miss, and it's those very simple things that can get you extremely far with being disciplined, consistent, and making sure that you have a general understanding of what it is that you are doing. So just wanted to provide this video. I'm going to be going live right now. I can actually show you guys real quick. So first of all, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you thought it was something of value. Right now I'm going to be going live with the people that are part of what's it called, like the members only. We're gonna do I did 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna be giving a lot more examples when it comes down to this confirmation bootcamp. It's the 4th link in the description. I do this every 2 weeks. It's based off of a different topic, and every 2 weeks I change it up. So if you guys want to join that, it's a much smaller group. I go live. I engage with those specific groups much more in depth, and I give a series of different examples for both day trading and swing trading and stuff like that. So again, that's going to be that 4th link in the description. I'm going to go live in about 6 minutes with that group, and then again we're just going to talk about reversals, and then not next week, but then the week that follows, we'll have another topic that we go in depth with. 2 weeks ago, I think we did a whole in-depth breakdown on the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, how I use it, my series of different indicators, and a whole rundown on the benefits of it. So yeah, really do appreciate your guys' time. Again, all the links are down below to stay connected. Don't forget about our Sunday stock talk today at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So really do appreciate you guys' time. Hope again we earned your thumbs up in this video. Be sure to subscribe, turn on your post notifications if you guys want to get alerts on when we go live, just so you don't have to kind of look for the link when we do go live. But yeah, that's really just it. So feel free to join our free Facebook group. We have over 210,000 members all across the world. We're the largest one out there with 210,000 members. So yeah, that's that first link, and then the Learn Plan Profit group, that's that second link in the description for those that want to be able to watch me trade live every single day. Appreciate you guys' time like always. Let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.